Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to today's Nahw and Sarf online class. And inshallah, today we are talking about al-maf'ulu ma'ahu, the object of accompaniment. So, what is the maf'ulu ma'ahu? We've talked about the other types of maf'il, and this is the last one, which is the maf'ulu ma'ahu, the object of accompaniment. So, like other maf'ul, the other types of maf'ul ma'ahu is also in the accusative case, which means it also takes nasbu and it falls after a waw. So we call this wawul ma'iyya, and it indicates the entity that an action was done along with. So if, for example, we have a maf'ul ma'ahu, it means that maf'ul ma'ahu also performed an action at the same time together with the fa'il at that point in time. So let's get down to a more proper understanding of this maf'ul ma'ahu. So we have an example. When I say ذهب الأستاذ والطلاب, ذهب الأستاذ والطلاب, our maf'ul ma'ahu in this case is who? Our tulab, the student. So it would mean that the teacher left along with the student. So it means that as the teacher left, the student also left. So that means that the student, the tulab, which is the maf'ul ma'ahu in this case, performed the action along with the fa'il, which is the ustad, and that is why we call it maf'ul ma'ahu, because it accompanies the fa'il when it is performing an action. So the same way we have kharaja Zaydun wal haqiba. Zayd left with the bag. So as Zayd left, he had the bag with him. So the bag basically left with him. So the bag accompanied him. So that is why we call it the maf'ul ma'ahu. And just like the other types of maf'ul, it also takes a nasbu, and it always comes after a wawul ma'iyya. So we need a wawul ma'iyya to activate the maf'ul ma'ahu. So and we call it the waw of accompaniment. So and a maf'ul ma'ahu can only be an ismun sarih. It can only be an outright noun, like a proper word, like a noun. So it cannot be a domir. So you can, like for example, you cannot say idhhab wa anta or idhhab wa huwa, something like that. Or we cannot use a fi'il or jumla to fi'iliyya or jumla to ismiyya or shibu jumla. You know, those other things that we usually use in other cases, we can't use them for maf'ul ma'ahu. The waw won't be able to act upon them. It can only act upon an ismun sarih, an outright noun. So those are the only nouns that a wawul ma'iyya can act upon. So a maf'ul ma'ahu cannot act in that case. And another point that we need to note is that the maf'ul ma'ahu is not an essential component of the sentence. So it's not something we see every day. It is more of an advanced linguistic structure, and we can see that even our textbook did not treat it as it was treating the other maf'il, because it is not so common or very basic. So but when we see it, we should be able to recognize it because it comes after a wawul ma'iyya, and it is going to take in nasbu. And when we look at the meaning, we realize that the meaning means that the maf'ul ma'ahu was performing an action, the fa'il performed an action along with that maf'ul ma'ahu. So now we are another important thing that we need to understand about the maf'ul ma'ahu, which is identifying the cases where a maf'ul ma'ahu may exist or it may not exist. So there are some particular cases that once we are reading the text, we realize that it is not possible for that waw not to be a wawul ma'iyya. That's the case one. It has to be in nasbu case, because the maf'ul ma'ahu has to occur. And for example, when I say kharaja Zaydun wal haqiba, or masha Anasun wal misbaha. So kharaja Zaydun wal haqibata masha Anasun wal misbaha. We realize that it has to be wawul ma'iyya. So that's why it's important for us to learn this topic, so that when you see something like this, you don't think, okay, kharaja Zaydun wal haqibatu, what does this mean? How can a bag walk? So it means that, so once we see that, we automatically recognize that, oh, this is definitely a wawul ma'iyya, and that hakiba must take in nasbu and be hakibata and not hakibatu. Why? Because hakiba cannot walk. So when we say kharaja zaidun wal hakiba, then I'm definitely saying that Zaid went out with the bag. Not more like saying kharaja zaidun ma'al hakiba. So but instead of using ma'a, we are using a wawul ma'iyya. So kharaja zaidun wal haqibata. So once you come across a sentence like this, when a file is performing an action with another thing, and that thing does not have life and does not have the capability to perform that action, then we realize that it has to be wawul ma'iyya, showing that the file performed that action together with the maf'ul ma'ahu. So in that case, it has to be a maf'ul ma'ahu the moment you see that waw before it. But the other case is that it can actually, there is a possibility that this might be a wawul ma'iyya, or it can just be a normal wawul atfu. That is the waw that means and. So the first case is that if it is, we can put it in a nasbu case. For example, ja'a zaidun wa anasan. So I can decide to say anasan after saying that waw, and we say that, okay, that's a wawul ma'iyya, showing that Zaid came together with Anas. However, we can also leave it in raf'a case and say ja'a zaidun wa anasun. That is the one we are more used to, and that waw in that case will not be a wawul ma'iyya. Rather, it means what? A wawul atfu. That means Zaid came and Anas came. So Zaid and Anas could have come separately, they could have come together, they could have come in any other way. But when we say Anasan, then it automatically shows that Zaid came together with Anas. However, when we say Anasun, then that is a wawul atf, and it will not be maf'ul ma'ahu. Rather, Zaid will be a fa'il, Anas is also a fa'il. So you can see how these nuances, how interesting Arabiya can be. However, it is also usually better for us to say ja'a zaidun wa anasun, to show that Anas actually performed the action on its own. So we just go through a few more examples and close out this topic on maf'ul ma'ahu. Kayfa anta wal imtihan. So we use wal imtihana. So when I say kayfa anta wal imtihana, then I'm asking you, how are you doing about your exam? How are you with your exam? Ma laka wa zaidan. Malaka wa zaidan. So it is that wawul ma'iyya that is giving this Zaid nasbu and making it a maf'ul ma'ahu. So what is the issue that you have with Zaid? Sirtu wal jabala. I walked with. So the wawul ma'iyya would also, we actually mean with, but we know that the mountain cannot walk, right? So what it would mean in this case is that sirtu wal jabala, because it happens that an Arab may actually tell you that walk, maybe sir wal jabal, or sir ma'al jabal, take the path of the mountain. So they use ma'a in that case, and so wawul ma'iyya can also walk in that case. So when I say sirtu wal jabal, it doesn't mean I walked with the mountain, it just means I took the mountain path basically. So sirtu wal jabala, I walked along the mountain. So laita wal awlada, you prayed with the children. So when we give it nasbu, we realize that that is a wawul ma'iyya, meaning you perform the action together with the children. Masha rajulu wal hadiqa. So we also see that hadiqa is also a non-living thing. So we are basically saying that the wawul ma'iyya is showing that the man walked along the garden path, he took the garden path. And zahaba wa tariqa salama. So idhab wa tariqa salama, take the path, the safe path, the path of safety. Safartu wal ahla, I traveled with the family. So that is basically the explanation of the maf'ul ma'ahu, and we've explained that the maf'ul ma'ahu shows the object of the sentence, whereby that object performed the action along with the fa'il. That is the maf'ul that the fa'il performed the action along with, and we call it a maf'ul ma'ahu. And we explained that it can only come after a wawul ma'iyya, and that the maf'ul ma'ahu can only be an ismun sarih. It can't be a domir or a shibhul jumla or a jumla tul ismiyya or a jumla tul fa'iliyya and so on. It can't be any of those things. So that brings us to the end of today's topic on al-maf'ul ma'ahu. So we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us a full understanding of this topic and makes it easy for us to understand it better than it has been explained. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.